Welcome to today's episode of Pirating is Always Better Than Paying for It. I'm your host, Louis Rossman. Usually I talk about how there are less limitations on content when you pirate it and also how it's better quality. With Netflix, I was talking about how I could pay for their top-of-the-line 4K plan and still get stuck with a 720p 1 megabit per second stream because apparently my computer was not fit to the requirements to be able to play it. I had a Threadripper 2950X, I had an RTX 2080 graphics card, a 32 gigabytes of RAM, and they were serving me a 720p 1 megabit per second stream. However, a Celeron Intel NUC that cost less than $300 back in 2018 that's attached to my television over there is able to play a 4K high bitrate 80 gigabyte Blu-ray. Piracy always wins. Now, when I talk about this, I'm usually talking about convenience and I'm talking about the quality of what you're getting. But here, even when it comes to privacy, you're getting a better experience when it comes to piracy. And you can't find any better example of that than in Netflix bragging about how they're going to be putting generative AI ads into their lowest price tier. So back when Netflix started the streaming options, if you think about like the 2010s, it actually cost less money to subscribe to Netflix back then and not have ads than it does to subscribe to Netflix now on their lower tier plan that has ads in it. If you scroll down, they're talking about putting generative AI ads into the content. Netflix debuted a new modular framework for ad formats that leverages generative AI to instantly marry advertisers' ads with the world of our shows. This will create a better, more relevant experience for our members and drive the best results. This means you get the added overlays, calls to action, second screen buttons, and more to serve the right ad to the right member at the right time. You know who the right person is to serve the ad to? Not the person who's paying to watch, because they're going to decide they're going to pirate. This is not the part that I'm the most interested in. What I cared about when I read this is what they were bragging about. The head of advertising says, when you compare us to our competitors, attention starts much higher and ends much higher. And even more impressive, members pay as much attention to the mid-roll ads as they do to the shows and movies themselves, she said. To the first part, just being sassy. Why are you bragging about the fact that your content sucks so much that people are paying as little attention to the content as they do to the ads? If people are paying as little attention to my content as they do Linus when he talks about Raycons or some shit, like, I feel some type of way about that. I don't like that. That's fucked up. People should not be paying as much attention to me as they do the fucking ad. I hope not. I'm doing something very, very wrong if you did not watch AdBlock and there's some sort of advertisement for some sort of new fucking shitty Gillette product and you're paying as much attention to that as you are my video. If you are, I suck. Well, don't brag about that. More importantly, would you like to share your work with the class? Like, how did you come to this conclusion? How do you know when I'm paying attention to the ad? How do you know whether or not I'm paying a lot of attention to the TV show or not? What information are you using for that? Because when I download a television show, if I were to use something like eMule or SoulSeek or Usenet or an IRC DDC bot or any BitTorrent or anything else, they have no fucking clue what part of the movie I'm paying attention to because they don't understand it, which is one of the many areas where piracy continues to be paying for it. Piracy doesn't just beat it on convenience. Piracy doesn't just win on freedom. Piracy doesn't just win on actual quality. It also wins on privacy as well. Privacy is what's being violated when you use these types of services. For the head of advertising to come out and actually brag that they know exactly what level of attention I'm providing to the advertisement versus the program, they got to be collecting some good data on that. And they're collecting that not just from people who don't pay, they're collecting it from people who pay. That's fucked up. I don't like that. If you read through the privacy policy, there's a number of different ways you can ascertain that they're doing this. There's a number of different things in this privacy policy that would lead me to believe that they're able to make this type of determination. So firstly, we collect information about your interaction with the Netflix service, like playback events, play, pause, etc., so they could be building an attention model based on when I pause, rewind, or stop content, particularly during an advertisement. We collect information about the ads on the Netflix service that you view or interact with. So Netflix can watch if I'm clicking or hovering or interacting with an ad to gauge whether or not I'm paying attention to it or not, and likely storing it somewhere in a database along with my name. Other information about your use, such as app clicks, text input, page views, time and duration of access, so they can track where I'm moving my trackball, what I type, or how long I'm dwelling on a particular button, whether it's to skip an ad or to browse. We collect device and software characteristics, such as type and configuration and device IDs for your network devices. On some devices, like a phone or a TV or a tablet, they could access a motion light sensor. So when you give it permissions via the QR code scanner to have access to your camera, that can also give it access to the ambient light sensor. And there are some people that have actually used this to profile what room you're in your house and at what time in the day you're in that room in your house, who's around you, just based on the ambient light sensor. There's a lot of data that you get from that little proximity sensor, ambient light sensor thing at the top of the phone that can tell where to set the brightness based on where you are. It's freaky. Advertising companies may provide us your likely interest they have collected or inferred based on your activities online. So Netflix could be buying attention data and behavior data from other brokers in order to compare it to how it is I'm using their service to get a better understanding of me. We collect your viewing and gaming history, search queries, and other information about your use. And again, this is probably tied to my name and likeness because you need my real name in order to sign up for an account. Are you paying for content, or are you paying to be a little lab rat in a clean room experiment? When I say clean room, I actually do mean it. That word is starting to piss me off for a lot more reasons than just Drive Savers using it to rip people off on $3,000 iPhone charge port replacement. Netflix also opened third-party data access to trusted partners like Experian and Axiom and announced their own clean room strategy. No, man, no, I'm not paying for this shit. Fuck you. Here's the thing. There's a lot of different ways that I can make money as a YouTuber, as somebody with 2 million subscribers. My incentive structure is not aligned with yours. My incentive structure is to get you to be okay viewing content using the proper platform, using the proper app, and not using anything else. I'm supposed to get you to only view content using their little DRM down box. I'm supposed to get you to turn your ad blocker off. I'm supposed to get you to feel okay paying for all this shit because that means you're more likely to click on some sponsored link or crap that I provide you, and you're more likely to watch my content viewing ads so that I get more money. If you want to obtain your privacy, there is a great way to do it. Pirate everything. Find a good VPN. There's almost an inverse correlation between the amount of money that VPN providers spend on influencer marketing and how good it actually is. The ones that you will never see in a YouTube video are the ones that are usually the best. I enjoy watching Black Mirror, and the reason that I paid extra money for Netflix back then is because I wanted to watch Black Mirror in 4K, but I fucking couldn't. I got a 720p stream at 1 megabit per second. You know when I didn't get a 1 megabit per second 720p stream? When I pirated it. That's when I get full quality. And Black Mirror did a great episode on this whole concept. If you take a look at Black Mirror Season 7, Episode 1, show yourself. I know you're there. I watched Season 7, Episode 1. I know people from Black Mirror watch this channel. There's no way in hell there's not somebody on that writing staff or a nephew of somebody that writes that show that watches this channel. But I digress. That entire show, I'm not going to spoil the whole thing, but the idea that this is the tier that you were paying for, and then this tier winds up getting ads and other shit and going away, and if you want what you had before, you got to pay this much. But, we can kick you back down to this tier since the tier that you have no longer exists, and this tier is filled with ads. And now you have generative AI ads. Watch Season 7, Episode 1 of Black Mirror. Tell me that's not the world that we're living in. Tell me that's not the world that Netflix themselves are not moving towards. If you want to preserve your privacy... Wow, that was a Freudian slip if I ever heard it. I'm not editing that out. If you want to preserve your privacy, piracy. Or when you buy media, buy physical media, buy it used, go on eBay or something, go on a used marketplace. This way, at the very least, the people that are behind all this garbage are not making direct money off of you when you do it. Buy the physical media, put it in your library, make sure you get yourself a nice, good old-fashioned Pioneer with 10-year-old firmware on it that allows you to rip it in 4K, so you have a copy of it. Put that physical media into a device that does not connect to the internet, and watch it that way. Because this is bullshit. I hate this. I really do. I like Black Mirror. It's an awesome show. I could not watch Black Mirror, and get spied on, or pirate Black Mirror. Probably pirate Black Mirror. It's the best solution. It gives me the best quality. It gives me the most privacy and the most entertainment. I want to pay for it, but you make it harder and harder every single day. The fact that you could come out here and fucking brag about the fact that you know what I'm paying attention to, and then literally talk about how you're making your own little fucking clean room box for me and my data to give away for other people. Like, no, fuck you. I don't want to pay $11 a month to be part of some clean room fucking experiment. Fuck you. No. It's not interested in it. I make more money by getting you to be okay with this type of shit-ass experience. Not directly, but in a roundabout way. If I get you to be okay with this and only use the official app and all this other stuff and don't use your ad blocker, the amount of money that I leave on the table with this, pushing back against this stuff is way more important. I'm happy I stopped paying Netflix 2 years ago. Fuck Netflix. And fuck you in the ass for thinking it's okay to have 4K be all up in here like it's the best possible plan, and oh look, 4K plus HDR, and then saying it's subject to my internet service and device capability, not making obvious that even if I have a fucking RTX 2080 and a 2950X CPU with goddamn 30,000 CPU benchmark score, that you're going to deliver me a 1 megabit per second 720p stream because I don't use a platform that's filled with your fucking spyware and DRM. Nah, we ain't doing that. There's people out there that are saying, well, this is happening because they're not making enough money. Bullshit. This is a totally sustainable business model. Completely sustainable. If you even going back to 2019, net income, 1.8 billion, 2.7 billion, 5.1 billion. 2022, 4.3 billion, 5.4 billion, 9.2 billion. They're doing fine. This isn't like Uber or WeWork where you have a business model that is completely unsustainable and the only way that you're ever going to make money is if you start massively screwing people. You're fine. You don't need AI ads. You're good. You're good. You don't need to track every fucking thing that I do and keep like, no, just no. You're good. You don't have to associate my name in a fucking database with every single thing I've watched, when I've watched it, when I hit play, pause, the light in my room, or whatever the fuck else you guys are keeping track of. I ain't interested in that, man. And you guys shouldn't be either. If you have a television like this, if you have a TV that has an option on it called do not sell my personal information and it is turned off by default, it is your obligation and duty to never connect that shit to the internet when your family is in your home. This shit ain't gonna change unless people decide that they're not gonna put up with it anymore. If this is any indication, people are putting up with it. Stop. I can already see ahead into what the comments in this video will be. This man is just angry. He milks anger for views so he can make more money off of ad revenue, ignoring the fact that in all of the videos I've done on YouTube for the past like 10 years, I've been telling you guys to install an ad blocker over and over and over again. I even have a 900-page freaking manual on how to get rid of ads in every aspect of your life. Let's put aside all the disdain that you may have for me. How does any of this benefit you? I think that it sucks that a company that was already making $1 or $4 billion has decided we want to make $18 billion. Let's shove ads into the tier that used to not have ads. And now let's shove ads that are AI generated into this tier, meaning that there is a greater demand for our customers' personal data. How does it benefit you for every single thing that you watch, every click you make, every breath you take to be stored in a database of a publicly traded company that's using that information to figure out how to more creatively separate you from your money by virtue of providing you with more invasive and intrusive ads that are designed to figure out exactly what makes you tick so that they could figure out how to rob you blind? How does that benefit you? You're allowed to hate me. You don't gotta like me. It's fine. A lot of people hate me. It's cool. It feeds me. If you hate my video, before you run to say, I love what Netflix is doing, I think this is great, serve me more ads, take more of my data. Two things can be true at the same time. You can hate me and everything I stand for and simultaneously realize that in this one small area, we're actually on the same side. You're a consumer. I'm a consumer. You're probably not a giant Netflix shareholder. And even if you are a Netflix shareholder, your share interest in Netflix is likely not correlated properly to your interest in your own ownership stake, your time, your mental health, and your privacy. Somebody said that they were going to send me a 3D printed pirate ship for my koi pond. I have to make sure that if I allow any of those into the koi pond, it has to be the type of pirate ship that is not going to mess with the water. Can't be any materials that are going to, give off any crap into the water. But I'd like to do that. I would like to have a little pirate ship that goes around my koi pond. Look at the fishy. That's a good little fishy. Not for you. No, Clinty. You don't get to eat my fish. If somebody sends me a 3D printed pirate ship for my koi pond, I will create a 24/7 pirate ship koi fish live stream and have it playing all the time. Make it happen. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye now. In all seriousness, welcome to today's episode of Piracy is Always Better Than Paying for It. I'm your host, Louis Rossmann. Today we're going to be discussing something that's similar to what was discussed in Season 7, Episode 1 of Black Mirror, which is funny because this actually concerns the company that makes Black Mirror. This is from Netflix. They are going to start including generative AI advertisements inside of one of the paid streaming tiers. I'm so old, I remember that when you paid for a streaming tier, that was the one that didn't have Are you serious? Really? You're just going to stand there when I have all the cat stuff over here? Like right in the front of the camera. Right in front of the camera. Right. The kitty goes over here. The kitty goes over here. Louis goes here. That's me. This is my spot. You go here. The kitty goes over here. The kitty goes over here. The kitty goes over here. No, the kitty doesn't fuck with the microphone. The kitty goes over here. The kitty goes over here. 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 Look, I'm petting an imaginary kitty. See, I have a better kitty now. I don't even need you anymore. See, that's my imaginary kitty. You like it? Oh, it's what a good little blue cherry. That's right, you're my blue cherry. I don't need a blackberry anymore. Oh, what's that? I don't need a blue cherry. I don't need a blackberry, I got a blue cherry. Look at that. I have an imaginary kitty. I love my imaginary kitty. I only let my imaginary kitty nuzzle me. You just have to make them jealous. It's the only thing that works.